Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Willis. I'm about to do one of the activities that Putnam City has come up with during this continuous learning time. You can find these activities on their website. I will provide the link in my description. Today we are going to take a virtual field trip to an animal shelter. We're also going to read about it as well. Then afterwards we're going to answer some questions about the animal shelter and do some creative writing with it. I just wanted to remind everybody that you can find all of these activities on the Putnam City website, putnamcity.org/academic/continuous learning. These links will be available on April 6th. Also, remember, you do not need a printer to access all of these and to do these assignments. You guys can always read the reading prompts online, and then with the writing part, you can just get a blank piece of paper and write down the activities they tell you to do. The activity that I will be doing today is the virtual field trip. You will need animal shelter passage, virtual field trip link, which is optional, writing checklist. Here is the passage to read and the writing activity. A virtual field trip to an animal shelter or read the passage attached. Discuss vocabulary, safety, approach, veterinarian, exercise. Write 3 sentences about interesting facts that you learned. Use the writing checklist. Answer the writing prompt on the animal shelter passage. Use the writing checklist. Write a story about an animal that you might help. Illustrate your story. Use the writing checklist. Here is the writing checklist. I can use capitals. I can use a period. I can use spaces. And I can write neatly. So if you would like, you can take this link and it will bring you to the virtual animal shelter. I'll provide this link in my description on my YouTube page. You can watch that whole video, or you can read the passage with me about the animal shelter, or you can do both. Animal shelter field trip. What kind of animals can you find at an animal shelter? Rabbits, cats, and dogs are just some of the animals that you might find at an animal shelter. An animal shelter is a place that takes care of animals that do not have homes. People can adopt these animals to bring home as pets. If you want to adopt an animal, or anytime you want to pet an animal that you do not know, you need to remember 4 animal safety rules. Rule number 1, ask. Always ask the owner if you can pet the animal. The owner knows if the animal is friendly or not. Rule number 2, approach. Slowly approach the animal and make sure that it sees you. Rule number 3, allow. Allow the animal to smell you. This is how it gets to know you. Rule number 4, pet. Pet the animals in the direction of its fur. If you want to adopt an animal, you would need to be ready with supplies. For example, if you want to adopt a puppy, you would need dog food, a leash, a collar, and of course, lots of love. It is also important that pets get a lot of exercise. You can exercise your pet by taking it on walks or playing catch. It is important to take care of animals by having a veterinarian check on them. A veterinarian is an animal doctor that will look at parts of the animal body, like its head, eyes, and legs, to make sure that it is healthy. At home, go over those 4 vocabulary words that were on this page with your family. The first one was about safety. Try to remember those 4 safety rules that they told us if we want to see an animal, if we want to pet an animal. Try to remember those and tell your mom or dad or brothers or sister or whoever is at home. The next word was approach. Approach is to come near someone or something. So if we are approaching a dog, it is important that we know those safety rules, because if we're approaching a dog, we are coming near it. And if it's not a friendly dog, then that might not be a good idea. So we always need to remember those 4 safety rules when we are approaching animals that we do not know. That next word was veterinarian, which I know a lot of my students know what that is, because I know a lot of you guys want to be vets when you grow up. A veterinarian is a doctor for animals. I bet visiting that virtual animal shelter could help you guys learn more facts about animals and could help you be a better veterinarian. The last vocabulary word that they provided was exercise. Just like animals need exercise as well. So it's important that if you guys own a pet, especially a dog, that you give them plenty of opportunities to get exercise. And same with you. I know we are inside and some of us might not be able to go out and take many walks, but if you are able, that would be a great way to exercise. If not, you can always maybe, if it is okay with where you live, run in place, do some jumping jacks, things like that inside. If you guys have YouTube, you can always look up some of those Go Noodle videos that we do in class. Cuckoo Kangaroo is a great site on YouTube to look up fun little things like the milkshake song that we do to get some of our energy out, because exercising is very important. So, reading from here, you can write 3 sentences about interesting facts that you learned, either from the video or from the passage we read, or from both. Answer the writing prompts on the animal shelter passage, which I'll read to you in just a minute. They're found at the bottom. Write a story about an animal that you might help and illustrate the story. So, the writing prompts that are at the bottom of this page are, what would your day be like if you were a cat, or a dog, or a fish? What sorts of things would you do? What would be your favorite time of day? You can choose to write all of the things that I just went over, or you could choose one of them if you'd like. I am going to write one interesting fact that I learned about the passage and show you guys how to use the writing checklist that is found at the bottom of this page. The first step is I can use capitals. You will use a capital at the beginning of a sentence or if you have a pronoun in the sentence. I can use a period. We put periods at the end of the sentence, telling the reader that that sentence is over and we're about to start a new one. I can use spaces. It is important to have spaces in between the words so readers are not confused. I can write neatly. It's important to work on our handwriting so that way when people are reading what we wrote, they can understand it. So I'm going to write about one interesting fact that I learned about the passage that we read. I learned that an animal shelter is a place that takes care of animals that do not have a home. So I'm going to write that on my board. So first I will write the word "an." We're going to start it with a capital A because that's the beginning of the sentence. Then a lowercase n. Next, I'm going to write the word animal, but before I do that, I need to make sure that I leave a space in between the word "an" and animal. A helpful tip is to use your finger, knowing how much space that you should leave. So you can put your finger down and start writing the word right after your finger. So here is one of my interesting facts that I learned. An animal shelter takes care of animals who do not have a home. I'm going to go through my checklist and make sure that I listen to the rules. I can use capital letters. The beginning of the sentence, it has a capital A, so I did that correctly. I can use periods. At the end of my sentence, I put a period. I can use spaces. I used spaces in between each word. I can write neatly. I worked on my handwriting to try to make sure that readers could read it. Remember, if you guys do have a printer, they have provided another page for you to write more if you'd like. Again, you don't have to use these papers. You can use papers that you have at home. For my students and for my parents, if your child would like to show me their work, I'd love to see it. Just send me a picture through our private messages on Bloom. If you need help with that, just let me know. Thank you guys for joining me in this lesson. I hope you have a wonderful day.